Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Soul Land 2 Peerless Tang Men based on novel. So let's start. Days passed, and Shrek Academy and the Tang sect stayed peaceful. In the blink of an eye, 2 months passed. Shrek was not the only calm one. The entire continent was strangely calm. After the Sun-Moon Empire experienced so many changes, the entire continent appeared to have lost its will to fight. Every country was extremely peaceful. The original 3 countries of the Doluo continent did not try to find those responsible from the Sun-Moon Empire, and the Sun-Moon Empire did nothing, either. Even the occasional border skirmishes disappeared in this period of time. Everything was eerily quiet. The only significant thing that happened, which was expected by everyone, was the ascension of the crown prince of the Sun-Moon Empire, Shu Qianran, to the throne. He became the new emperor of the Sun-Moon Empire. After he ascended the throne, he did not do anything significant, either. All he did was issue a few orders for the rebuilding of Radiant City. Other than that, he did nothing else. In the eyes of the people, peace was a good thing. However, to those who were more discerning, this was just the calm before the storm. Those who knew Shu Qianran knew of his ambition. How could he be content with keeping a low profile? The original 3 countries of the Doluo continent continued to make their preparations. War would come at any moment. To them, any additional days they got would greatly help in their preparations. Due to the difference in soul tool technology, they had completely lost the initiative. If they wanted to catch up to the Sun-Moon Empire in terms of technology, they needed time. It was under this political context that the Tang sect was able to further expand its influence. The Tang sect was originally located at the outskirts of Shrek City, but it now managed to expand once more, occupying a significant plot of land in the western part of Shrek City. This expansion was because of the Soul Tool Hall. Due to the development of the Tang sect, Shrek Academy and the Tang sect came to a further agreement. The Soul Tool Hall of the Tang sect would be where the top graduates of Shrek Academy's Soul Tool department would go. They would be treated well, and, coupled with personal instruction from the former Sun-Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy's chief researcher, it was bound to attract many people. Shrek Academy's Soul Tool department made a name for itself through its cooperation with the Tang sect. Huge amounts of various types of ordinary and rare metals entered Shrek City, having been bought elsewhere at high prices. These were turned into soul tools, which were quietly shipped back out. In just a span of 2 months, the Tang sect gave the Heavenly Soul Empire and the Star Luo Empire 3 batches of soul tools, most of which were Zhuge divine crossbow cannons. After careful testing, the Tang sect decided to take even more orders. As Shrek Academy was the Tang sect's backer, the profits from the Soul Tool Hall benefited both the Tang sect and Shrek Academy. The Tang sect in particular used the rare metals and gold soul coins obtained from selling soul tools to great effect, allowing the Soul Tool Hall to develop as rapidly as a rocket. There was no doubting Xian Ziwen's abilities. He was not only the hallmaster of the Tang sect's Soul Tool Hall, but also the honorary dean of Shrek Academy's Soul Tool department. Every week, he had to spend 2 days lecturing at Shrek Academy. As he brought with him the newest theories of soul engineering, as well as much technical expertise, Shrek Academy's Soul Tool department was able to develop at an astonishing pace. The original situation, where Shrek Academy was weak in terms of soul engineering and strong in terms of soul masters, was changing rapidly. The original 3 countries of the Doluo continent continued to send their elite students to study at Shrek Academy. No matter their age or background, they would always be crucial talents. The development of Shrek Academy seemed strong and unstoppable. Shrek Academy, Inner Courtyard, Sea God's Pavilion. How is everything? Elder Xian asked the elder standing next to him. It's ready. These 2 words made Elder Xian's eyes lit up. He nodded slightly and said, "All right, if that's the case, let's make our preparations. Inform the elders that we shall have a meeting at the Sea God's Pavilion." Yes. Tang sect. Boom. An explosion rang out. Nan Qiuqiu and Yi Gai flew in opposite directions. The figure of the sword fanatic, Ji Juechen, could gradually be seen. He had an ugly expression on his face, and his clothes were torn in many places. Only his gaze was sharp. One could see light flashing on his judgment sword. Nan Chiochio stood there wheezing. Her eyes brimmed with excitement as she said, "Success, the experiment was a success." Yi Gai gave her a thumbs up. She was excited, too. In the past 2 months, Ji Juechen was in both pain and joy. As a sword fanatic, he feared not having a regular opponent. However, over the past 2 months, he had found 2 people who were more burdensome than him, and that was these 2 beauties. Nan Chiochio, in her attempt to save her mother, searched for him as a sparring partner every day. Yi Gai was also a fanatic when it came to cultivation. The 2 of them went to Ji Juechen to spar almost every single day. The difference in cultivation made him slightly hesitant about fighting them at first. However, the 2 of them used extreme methods to achieve their aims. They did not care whether he was willing or not. Whenever they saw him, they would attack him straight away, as they knew that he would not actually hurt them. In the end, in these 2 months, Nan Chiochio and Yi Gai learned to coordinate extremely well with one another. In particular, they came up with a special joint attack, fusing the Holy Angel's holy element with the Rouge Dragon's annihilation. While it was not a true martial soul fusion skill, it was close enough that it could be called one. Now, it was much harder for Ji Juechen to beat them. Once he lost his focus, they would take advantage of him. Of course, both Nan Chiochio and Yi Gai knew that this was because Ji Juechen had no intentions of killing them. If not, they would still be the losers. Even so, their improvement in the past 2 months was shocking. Nan Chiochio was very close to rank 60, and she had accumulated a lot of fighting experience. Ji Juechen shook his head helplessly. He looked at himself and walked away with his judgment sword. Nan Chiochio made a fist and said, "We must beat him next time." Yi Gai smiled and said, "Then you should hurry up and increase your soul power. Once you get your 6th soul ring and 6th soul skill, I think we'll stand a chance." "What chance?" "I think the 2 of you are closer to death," Shu Sanxia said lazily. Nan Chiochio looked at him angrily and said, "Third elder brother, all you know how to do is douse cold water on us. Why are we closer to death?" Shu Sanxia said, "Do you think the sword fanatic really can't beat you? We're the Tang sect, and in terms of individual fighting prowess, even Bei Bei and I have to be wary of him. While the 2 of you have special martial souls, your foundations are weak. Ji Juechen's strongest trait is that his sword intent is unstoppable. He does not dare to go all out against you, as he cares about you. If your power improves even more, he'll be forced to use all his strength. By that time, he may not be able to rein in his powers. Hence, aren't you closer to death?" Yi Gai and Nan Chiochio looked at one another. Their expressions changed. Shu Sanxia was right. From the first moment they had attacked Ji Juechen, they had already had this notion in mind, but as they fought more and more, they gradually forgot about it. An idea flashed in Yi Gai's mind as she smiled at Shu Sanxia. She was already very beautiful. With that smile, she became even more attractive. Shu Sanxi's face froze. He took a few steps back, as he folded his arms in front of his chest. "What do you want? Let me warn you, I have a woman waiting for me. Furthermore, I have a strong will. Don't tempt me, if not, I'll be a goner for sure." Nan Chiochio chuckled and said, "Who's tempting you? Don't dream. If not for the fact that Sister Nan Nan fell for you with your appearance. TSK. As she said that, she waved her hand in front of her nose disrespectfully. Yi Gai chimed in, "That's right. We don't like you. Third elder brother, you see, you said that the increase in our strength would make Ji Juechen an unsuitable sparring partner for us. Hence, do you think we should change that?" An uneasy feeling rose in Shu Sanxi's heart as he said with a straight face, "I have something to do." As he said that, he turned to leave. "Don't go. Watch me." Yi Gai and Nan Chiochio, the 2 little devils, dominated the sparring arena. Yi Gai's feet lightly touched the surface of the ground as she flew into the sky. Her angel wings extended outward, and a golden blade of light sliced toward Shusansha. Nan Chocho was not idle, either. She pointed out with her right hand. A pink ray of the light of annihilation appeared behind Shusansha. Mysteriously, when it was less than 2 meters away from him, it blew up and turned into countless strands of light that sought to cover him. Not fair! Shusansha shouted. He stumbled as he took a few steps forward. Weirdly, with his odd footwork, he was able to dodge the sharpest part of Yi Gai's holy sword as he dodged to the side. He turned around, and a soothing black light shone from him. The black light looked as gentle as ripples on water. It entangled with the light of annihilation that came from behind him. The moment the light of annihilation entered the black light, it started to ripple intensely. However, every single black ripple continued to twist and turn, stopping every single strand of light of annihilation from entering it. Another black light flashed, and a huge shield appeared, blocking Yi Gai, who came down from the sky. The shield was completely black. On it, one could see the carving of a huge, deep blue turtle. On the back of the turtle was a small, coiled blood-red snake with jade-green eyes. When the shield appeared, the entire sparring arena was covered by a layer of black ripples. It was like this entire area had turned into the bottom of a lake. Both Yi Gai and Nan Chocho felt discomfort, as if they were stuck in mud. Yes, this was the Xuanwu shield, the complete form of the Xuanwu shield. Who benefited the most in the Yin-Yang love-querying valley? It was definitely not those whose soul power had increased, but Shusansha. In the valley, he had resolved his relationship issue with Jiang Nan, and the two of them were finally together. Furthermore, he had experienced that scene once more, and this time, his Xuanwu shield was fully awoken. Now, he had a martial soul which descended from a pure, ancient bloodline. Among Shrek's 7 monsters, Bei was no longer the strongest. Shusansha, who now wielded his pure Xuanwu shield, was the strongest. When he unleashed his Xuanwu shield, Shusansha appeared to have increased in size. Countless black ripples pulsed from his body. Shusansha took a step forward, and his Xuanwu shield doubled in size once more. A powerful energy could be felt from it. Black light filled the entire sparring arena. The black ripples instantly turned into countless rising dots of black light. It was like a plate filled with water, which someone had just hit from underneath. A power energy vibrated out, and instantly, Yi Gai and Nan Chocho's attacks were destroyed. The two girls felt that the soul power they had used to launch their attacks had been instantly destroyed by this powerful energy. In shock, they retreated. However, black ripples appeared once again. The vibrations made their movements sluggish. The movements of the two girls became visibly slower. Continue to work hard. After Chocho gets her 6th ring, you can consider looking for me, Shusansha chuckled as he waved his hands at the two girls. The surrounding black light became even more intense, forcing the two girls to go on the defensive. However, the moment the black light receded, Shusansha had already disappeared. He's so strong, Nan Chocho said in shock. His martial soul is very powerful, Yi Gai said with a heavy expression on her face. While it's water type, it had the thickness of a soil type martial soul. Furthermore, I feel that his martial soul is not on the same level as ours. I estimate that is around rank 68, very close to rank 70. Nan Chocho exclaimed in shock, so our Tang sect will soon have a second soul sage. Yi Gai nodded and said, in the past, he didn't seem so strong. In the past 2 months, however, he has become very powerful. Shusansha heard the two girls' conversation clearly, and could not help but laugh. He was delighted. Yi Gai was right. Right now, his soul power was at rank 68. His soul power did not increase in the Yin-Yang love-querying valley. However, after his martial soul turned completely into the Xuanwu, his cultivation entered a strange state. It was like a form of refinement. The refinement of his martial soul caused his own soul power to become refined as well. His past 2 months of cultivation had allowed his soul power to change completely. Over the past 2 months, his evolved martial soul was able to complete its fusion, and his soul power naturally rose to rank 68. Shusansha estimated that in less than half a year, he had a chance of surpassing rank 70. With the strength of his martial soul, the Xuanwu shield, he would not even fear rank 80 Soul Dolua once he hit rank 70. He was not the only one who had improved. Through the Continental Elite Youth Soul Master Tournament, everyone from the Tang sect who had participated benefited greatly from it. Their fights in the tournament and their struggles in the Yin-Yang Love Querying Valley had allowed them to reap many benefits. Jiang Nan Nan and Xiao Xiao, under Din Yang Shaojia's personal supervision, had successfully retrieved their 6th soul rings. They reached the rank of Soul Emperor, improving the Tang sect even more. Yi Gai and Nan Qiuqiu both had great potential. The reason why they were unable to fight those from the Tang sect was because of their foundations. Shrek Academy was not known as the top academy in the world for nothing. Its method of education was excellent and reigned supreme. In particular, they were able to produce the best soul masters, who no one else could beat. Nan Qiuqiu and Yi Gai were both now on the path that Shrek's 7 monsters trod. Their shaky foundations, after the intensity of the past few months, solidified. Soon, they would improve faster and faster. With excellent instruction from good teachers, and Shrek's 7 monsters as their peers, their cultivation had been improving rapidly. Third elder brother, a clear voice suddenly called out. Yes? Shu Sanxia replied without thinking. In the Tang sect, other than Bei Bei, He Kai Tu, Xian Zuan, and a few others, almost everyone else called him that. He was thinking about the overall strength of everyone from the Tang sect, so he did not pay much attention to the voice. Let's spar, said the voice once more. Sure. Wait. Shu Sanxia finally woke up from his reverie. He raised his head to look. Who wants to spar with me? When he saw a smiling, confident youth, his eyes opened wide in shock. Then, brimming with joy, he shot forward like an arrow to hug him. You rascal. You finally ended your closed-door cultivation, Shu Sanxia said excitedly. That's right. I'm done. I took a shower and changed. Just when I walked out, I saw a good show. Third elder brother, your power has improved so much. I almost didn't recognize you. Shu Sanxia chuckled and said, Don't try and flatter me. What's this? You can walk again. The one who had appeared in front Shu Sanxia, who delighted him so much, was none other than Hui Yuhao, who was ranked number 6 among Shrek's 7 monsters. His closed-door cultivation had indeed made everyone worry deeply for him. Hui Yuhao lifted his right leg and kicked out. He nodded at Shu Sanxia and said, That's right, I've healed fully. All of my passageways are clear once more. I've absorbed all the energy into my body. As he said that, his eyes shone with a faint light. While Shu Sanxi's sight was not as good as Hui Yuhao's spirit eyes, it was not weak either. He saw the instantaneous change in his junior's eyes. To his shock, Hui Yuhao's eyes shone with a pale white light. It was not as powerful or dazzling as his original golden eyes. Instead, it looked as clear and silky as jade. His entire body appeared to be holding in great power. Little junior brother, you've changed. After Wang Donga was revealed to be a girl, Hui Yuhao was naturally the youngest male disciple. Shu Sanxia, He Kai Tu, and Bei Bei all called him little junior brother. Hui Yuhao smiled and said, Do you want to try fighting me? Shu Sanxia laughed and said, Bring it on. As he said that, he dragged him outside. The moment the two of them walked out the door, they bumped into the 2 frustrated beauties. They did not react when they saw Shu Sanxia dragging someone over. However, when they finally got a closer look, they could not help but open their mouths in shock. Nan Qiuqiu exclaimed in surprise, Hui Yuhao, you've completed your closed-door training. Good. You finally came out. Yi Gai also said excitedly. When Hui Yuhao looked at the two of them, his smile brightened. After 3 months of solitary cultivation, it was good to see some familiar faces. Hello, Qiuqiu and Yi Gai. That's right, I've completed my training. You rascal. Yi Gai said indignantly, You brought me here, but the moment you returned, you went to do your closed-door training. You didn't even say hi. Why? HMPH. Let me tell you, my powers have increased quite a bit in this period of time. Come. Let me take my anger out on you. Nan Chocho fanned the flames and continued, that's right. You're terrible. Sister Gai, let's take care of him together. Shusansha said with a smile, my pretties, don't you think you should wait? Little junior brother and I agreed to spar first. We should follow this order. Furthermore, don't fight a battle you can't win. Watch us fight first to see how powerful he has become before taking him on yourselves. Hui Yu Hao chuckled bitterly and said, third senior brother, you just want to see the world burn. Shusansha looked into the sky and said, if the heavens have caused trouble for you, it's forgivable. If you cause trouble for yourself. Hui Yu Hao's feet left the ground. Yi Gai and Nan Chocho only saw a blur. They lost sight of him. Come on, third senior brother, Hui Yu Hao's voice rang out from afar. The two girls turned and realized that Hui Yu Hao was already at the other end of the sparring arena. He's so fast, said Nan Chocho. Yi Gai was not impressed. So what's if he's fast? A man must have endurance. Shusansha was walking into the sparring arena, but when he heard that, he stumbled, and could not help but turn around and retort angrily, that's so wrong. You two are in cahoots with him. Yi Gai chuckled and said, did I touch a sore spot? Go, third elder brother, beat him up. Shusansha did not know what to say. He did not know how this girl, who did not even have a boyfriend, knew so much about this subject. However, when he turned to look at Hui Yu Hao, the look in his eyes changed. At that moment, Shusansha stood upright, and his body felt like an immovable mountain that would never fall to everyone. Before he even released his martial soul, faint black air swirled around him, making him appear even heavier. Hui Yu Hao, however, gave off a different feel. Compared to Shusanshi's weightiness, Hui Yu Hao was like a snowflake. It seemed impossible to grab onto him. While he stood there, he seemed to not exist. The aura Shusansha gave off disappeared by the time it reached Hui Yu Hao. Shusansha nodded and said, you've changed indeed, little junior brother. Hui Yu Hao raised his right hand and replied, third senior brother, please. All right, Shusansha replied as he took a step forward. The black light from his body started to shine intensely as dark ripples rushed toward Hui Yu Hao, just like in his fight against Nan Chocho and Yi Gai. Darkness, which enveloped heaven and earth, surged toward Hui Yu Hao like a giant beast. When Nan Chocho and Yi Gai saw this, their mouths twitched, unhappy with Shusansha. Earlier, in their fight against him, he was not so careful. The martial soul he released was not as powerful, either. Yi Gai thought in her heart, can one soul emperor and one soul king be weaker than Hui Yu Hao? They did not know that Shusansha was even warier of Hui Yu Hao than they thought. After knowing Hui Yu Hao for so many years, Shusansha had seen the full strength of his little junior brother many times. In his heart, he had never viewed him as a mere soul king. Not only did Hui Yu Hao have countless abilities and an extremely flexible fighting style, but Sansha also did not know how powerful Yu Hao had become after his closed-door cultivation. All he knew was that Hui Yu Hao and his spirit eyes were a big reason why Shrek's 7 monsters could achieve such results in the past 2 tournaments. Hui Yu Hao's role was far bigger than his own. Faced with the black light that surged toward him, Hui Yu Hao smiled and nodded. Third elder brother has improved drastically indeed. Your Xuanwu's domain has been absorbed into your soul power already. This should be a complete fusion with your martial soul, right? As he spoke, he struck out, 2. 5 soul rings rose from underneath his feet. The colors of the 5 soul rings were shocking indeed. The first one was blood red with 4 golden streaks. The rest were orange gold. When the 5 soul rings appeared, the temperature of the sparring arena dropped. 2 figures appeared behind Hui Yu Hao. The 2 shadows were shocking to behold. They were both women. The one on the left had a clear, but cold expression on her face, and wore an emerald green dress. Due to the illusory nature of the light, one could not see her face clearly. However, her jade green eyes, which brimmed with a conquering aura, were extremely clear. Opposite her was a girl clad in a white dress. She was as regal and haughty as ice and snow. She gazed down on all creation arrogantly, and had a pair of deep blue eyes like glacier, which had existed for more than 10,000 years, shocking and moving. When the two figures appeared, everything around Hu Yuhao changed, too. When the black light surging toward him was only 5 meters away from him, it turned into snowflakes. The air was windless, yet the snowflakes swirled around Hu Yuhao's body. This scene could only be described as strange. Even Shusansha was shocked by it. "Little junior brother, that's not nice," he said as he reacted immediately. He lifted his right hand and slapped out at Hu Yuhao. Instantly, the colors of the sky changed, and the light around them dimmed. In mid-air, the giant Xuanwu shield appeared. Like a cloud that obscured the sun, it covered the sky above Hu Yuhao. The huge turtle and the blood-red snake on the shield came alive. Both brimmed with powerful auras. Like a mountain, it crashed down on Hu Yuhao's head. Hu Yuhao stood there unmoving. His expression became as gentle as sunlight as he looked into the distance. In his eyes, there was only one emotion, and that was melancholy. A golden figure appeared and flashed past the two cold figures behind him. Compared to the two other figures, this one was way too real. Long hair billowed down her back. Her entire body was golden. Was that not Wang Donga? This was not the goddess of light, but Wang Dongyi. Her hair was straight, not wavy. This was Hu Yuhao's Wang Donga, his beloved. The golden figure appeared in front of Hu Yuhao and then turned to look at him. They stared at each other, and Hu Yuhao's eyes turned misty. At the same time, an indescribable aura could be felt from his body. It was a bright golden sword light. The sword light was not long, only 3 feet in length. However, it appeared between Hu Yuhao and the golden figure. The sword light flashed, blocking the falling Xuanwu shield. With a clangor, the Xuanwu shield started to vibrate vigorously. As it shook, the golden sword light did not dissipate, but instead remained firm. The golden Wang Donga took a step forward as she entered Hu Yuhao's body. Hu Yuhao's body turned smooth and clear. It was the same color Shusansha had seen in his eyes. Hu Yuhao took a step forward and punched out. This punch looked very simple. Anyone could do it. However, the moment he punched, the expression on Shusanshi's face changed. His Xuanwu shield appeared in front of him instantly, and he stepped back with his right foot. His left leg twisted sideways as he stood in this classic stance. At the same time, countless layers of light appeared on top of his Xuanwu shield, which now shone with black light. Nan Qiuqiu and Yi Gai suddenly felt like vomiting blood. They discovered, to their shock, that the space in the sparring arena appeared to have collapsed completely the moment Hu Yuhao punched out. A huge explosion resounded in the air, and Shusansha slid back 3 feet behind his Xuanwu shield before he managed to straighten himself. Hu Yuhao lifted his right hand immediately. As he did that, the two figures behind him disappeared. The clear light on his body glowed even more intensely, and became unbelievably sharp. At that moment, Hu Yuhao's entire body was like a sword which had left its scabbard. His right palm came down. There was no color. All one could see was a distorted ray of clear light dropping from the sky. Oddly, Hu Yuhao's eyes were still dazed and lost. He did not seem to be fighting Shusansha, but instead appeared to be thinking of Wang Donga. The fourth soul ring on Shusanshi's body started to shine, as he used his Xuanwu displacement. As a defensive soul master, he was extremely sensitive to his opponent's attack strength. While he told himself in his heart that Hu Yuhao could not hurt him at his level, the moment Hu Yuhao raised his right palm, a powerful sense of danger forced him to unleash his fourth soul skill. He wanted to displace Hu Yuhao to reduce the accuracy of his attack. However, something shocking happened to Shusansha. This soul skill, which had never failed him and helped him successfully move much stronger opponents, failed on Hu Yuhao. His soul skill was now Xuanwu displacement, not the mysterious underworld displacement. Even if his opponent was a title Doluor, Shusansha believed it had a 30% chance of succeeding. However, when Xuanwu displacement was used Hu Yuhao, he felt like there was nothing there. There was no one to displace. He did not have much time to think about it as his sixth soul ring lit up. The turtle snake on Xuanwu's shield came alive, as the shield instantly shrank to a length of only 1 foot. He seemed to be holding a turtle now, which had a snake on it. The clear light flashed past, and Shusansha was sent flying like a cannon shell. He crashed into the back hall. All one could hear was explosions and the sound of stuff getting wrecked. No one knew how much damage it caused. Nan Chiochio and Yigai stood at the side, staring at the scene in shock. They could not believe that Shusansha, who had defeated them as easily as if he was cutting vegetables, lasted only 2 moves before Hua Yuhao. They did not even see Hua Yuhao use any soul skills as he defeated Shusansha. Hua Yuhao was stunned too. He lowered his right palm and rushed toward the back hall. "Third elder brother, are you all right?" he called out urgently. After a long interval, he helped Shusansha, whose face was clouded with dirt and dust, out of the mess. Shusansha was truly embarrassed. Shusansha was in a terribly disheveled state. His clothes looked like those of a beggar. Weird objects hung all over his body, and even the corner of his mouth was blooded. Shusansha, who had made a name for himself through his defensive abilities, and was given the moniker the Eternal Defense, was injured by Hua Yuhao, just like that. Yi Gai and Nan Chiochio were not the only ones who did not believe this. Even he had trouble coming to terms with this fact. Part 1 end here.